box folder very soon afterwards, but are we good?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see how that works. Good. Okay, I'm going to let Coach start off with some opening comments, and then we will go to your questions. We'll start with Scott Ritchie, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead, Coach.
I guess it's good afternoon now. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, as we did. So it's on to the next. We're very, very excited to be a part of the Jimmy V. It's something that was not on the original schedule for this season, but as things started developing with COVID and games were canceled, this became a priority, really, in terms of a great opponent, great event, and then it ends up in Indy. So the proximity for us in terms of our travel was a part of this as well. So we're excited as heck to be a part of it. We face a great Baylor team coming off a 3-game MTE, which I'm really proud of our guys. I'm really proud of our opponents in terms of staying COVID free, handling all the testing, getting up at 5:30 every morning to test. The early games, so it was a long weekend from that standpoint in terms of sleep and the quick turnarounds. Obviously, we got a couple of good ones out of the way early in terms of just getting guys minutes, and then we faced a really, really good Ohio team. And as is the case, and so often we see this a lot already this year, if you're old and you're a veteran team, you're going to be good. And that's an old veteran team that has every piece to the puzzle, from wing shooters to a very adequate big who's very good in pick and rolls and very athletic, and then a 4-man who can space and shoot, and then an NBA point guard. And we were not our best. I thought we were very, very flat emotionally. That was very evident in our free throw shooting. But again, we did what we had to do to find a way to win. That came from a variety of people, not just Io making the free throws or DeMonte making the 3. There were some huge plays in there by Adam Miller. Huge play by Trent setting up DeMonte. Trent also hit the 3 before, and then we made a couple of good plays on the defensive end. So again, we got tested. We needed to be tested. We needed to be stressed. These young guys needed to find out that college basketball isn't 50-point blowouts and seeing the ball go in every time because you're open. So on to the next, and we get a Baylor team that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I've known Scott for almost 30 years. We go way back to my days at Western Illinois and his days as working for his dad at Valpo. Still to this day is one of the tougher defeats I've ever had. We lost a triple overtime game to Valpo to go to the NCAA tournament on their court. His brother Bryce hit a hell of a tough shot to beat us. So we've grown up together. And obviously being in the Big 12 as many years as I was, to see what he's done with the evolution of that program is quite remarkable. And so we've known each other for a long time, and obviously, in my opinion, he doesn't get near enough credit for how good a coach he is, and all the ways that he's done it, whether it's with really long athletic guys and play zone, or now pressure man to man, and he's evolved and he's had a lot of changes to his system that have allowed him to win. So great challenge. They're number 2 in the country for a reason. And, they're to do what they did last year with 23 straight wins, to me is remarkable. being a part of that league as I was, I have tremendous respect for that streak. And a lot of those guys are back. So it'll be a great test for us and one we're excited for. And we're going to have to play very well and very hard to win.
Afternoon, Brad. As you know, we talked to Io this morning. He didn't really pull any punches. Called this a legacy game and an opportunity maybe to prove something in a top 5 matchup. I'm just curious, kind of what your thoughts are on the stakes of this game, I suppose.
Yeah, those games become Final Four games for me. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. It's a great challenge. It's a great team. We're we're not even a week into the season yet. So we're right about, so there's a lot of room to grow yet with this group and continue but it's a great challenge, and you want to find out where you're at, and you want to see what you can get exposed by, or what you can do against quality opponents. And they got quality guards, and that challenge is going to be fun. But I wouldn't say it's that. It's a great opportunity and a great event, and we relish that opportunity, and it's very exciting to be a part of that.
You mentioned Baylor returning a lot of the guys from last year's team, but how much of an impact have their now eligible sit-out guys like Flagler and Chamwa Chachua made? Obviously through 2 games, but just what have they brought?
Yeah, I think they're obviously very good. Flagler's an elite shooter. I think that I'll let you pronounce his name, John, as I call him on Scouting Report. An elite runner. He's got an elite motor. He's maybe not as big as Gillespie and Tristan Clark were last year in the interior, and then Flo Thamba, is a guy who they start, and so they've got a little different look in the interior, but with Matthew Mayer and Vital and those 3 guards, there's an unbelievable knack for guys to have a lot of experience. So they're doing great, and they impact the game, and they've done that at this point. We've got to be very conscious of them when they come in.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Brad. I was wondering with Kofi, I know you weren't with him a lot of the offseason because of the pandemic, but what were areas you saw him grow the most, or have seen him grow the most in the last 6 or 7 months?
Yeah, I think mentally, I think there's obviously some physical changes. He's heavier, he's in better shape, his body fat's down. That's a big piece of this. And then I think the other thing is just, his left hand is better. You can't just sit and not sit on that left shoulder and let him shoot a right hand jump hook or turn that way. You can go the other way now, and he's worked very, very hard on that. He's comfortable with that. He's got a much better understanding of when to, we call it leg whip or seal. He's got a much better understanding of the timing and when to do that, and that's just growth from understanding the game, having a better understanding of what we're trying to do offensively. I think understanding where we're trying to get him the ball is something he's grasping, and he's understanding that. So, and then I think just the understanding of, he's seen it all now, and it's not a new experience. And now there's a veteran mentality to what he does, and that comes with confidence. And so we've seen a lot of growth in him. There's no doubt, especially in the mental part of it.
In this game, obviously they have this team that you can spread it out. They can go small ball, all those things. What's the key in a game like this to get him going and to use his physical advantages against a team like this?
Yeah, well, and I mean, they've done a great job against almost everybody they've played that's had physical size. They're going to front him. They'll sit on his lap. He won't have much room to move. It's a game that they do what they do. They're a unique team in terms of the way they force baseline and their rotations. They do a ton of switching. And again, it's just about, taking the opportunities when they're there and understanding when those are and, and not trying to force it. And then the other thing is what we always do is go chase it on the offensive glass. So we've got to continue to do that and understand it's not going to be there every trip, but we're going to look there every trip and we may not be able to throw it, but he does occupy and you do have to account for him. And there's a lot of validity to helping other guys because of the attention he draws.
Thanks, Brett.
Hey, Coach, when you schedule a game like this, how much are you thinking about resume, wanting to get tested before Big Ten play? What goes through your mind when you see this challenge and feel like it's a good one for you guys?
Most years, I would think that's a lot. I would think about that, as a big 99.9% of the reason we want to play in these games. Obviously, COVID 2020 has been about the games and just being able to play the games, and the opportunity presented itself. I don't want to say, we knew when there was a shortened season, we weren't going to need much playing 20 league games or whatever we needed. It's going to be a completely different look this year. But I've said it since I've been here, we want to play good people and quality people. We lost the MTE, we lost Arizona. So that was an opportunity to play against a very good opponent in a great event. And when that possibility happened, we jumped on it. And to be honest, the net rankings or any of that other nonsense we haven't thought didn't weigh into us playing the game. It was more about just being COVID 2020 and this is a game that is against a great opponent. We can play it. We get the opportunity to play.
It was 16 years ago to this day that Illinois was part of a top 5 matchup in the regular season, number 5 Illinois, number 1 Wake Forest. What does that say to you? What does it say to you about what's ahead of for your program?
I hope we have the same outcome. I think it was, Derek, I'm proud. It's exciting for everybody. I'm disappointed you all don't get to come to the venues and the games, and the fans don't, and that's sad. But it's nice to see. I don't live for the rankings. My daughters had to tell me last night. I literally did not know, even all through practice. I walked in and I did not know that we were in the top 5 till my daughters told me when we got home. That's how little I pay attention to it. It's nice to be there, but it's we're a week into the season, and we're a good basketball team, and we got a great matchup coming, and we got great couple weeks and 20 conference games to play yet.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, Simberg, you're up.
Hey, Brad. Io talked about being the hunted and his experience playing on a top 5 team. So what have you kind of seen from him from a leadership standpoint leading up to this game?
Io's pretty good when he's in that with that frame of mind. Io's been in a lot of big games. He's been a part of a lot of those. He relishes those. He's got experience. He's got confidence. That manifests itself throughout our team, and again, we got to show up and play, and not be too high, but Io's confidence resonates through our locker room and through our team, and that's great to have, and we've got other guys, I don't care if you're a freshman, Curbelo and Adam Miller and Coleman, and all these guys have been a part of big games. Maybe not at the collegiate level, but they've got enough swagger about them that they're excited. But Io gives us that confidence.
And speaking of big games, you've coached a lot in your career. Does this game, in terms of regular season games, rank up there for you in terms of biggest games?
Yeah, I don't know. it's great to be a part of the Jimmy V. And I think everybody, you know, there's games in Maui, there's games in, you know, had games on College game day, so I think there's all those things that are, you point towards. It's up there. It's one of those because of the event, and I'm so involved with Coaches versus Cancer, and you know, still remember Jimmy V running around the court after the air ball put back, and but you know, it's a great contest, and I'm looking forward to that, and so I try to keep it all in perspective. It won't be there if we're in a Final Four. Let's put it that way. That'll trump it all.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, good to see you. You know, Io said something a few days ago. I forget which game it was after, but he mentioned that he hadn't seen his family in a long time. Obviously, we saw all the messages from family members to players before the games, but I'm wondering, you know, usually a lot of guys' families are at games. They're certainly not going, you know, I know you got some guys who are from international places, but you know, it seems like a lot of guys are going a long stretch this season without seeing their families. How does that kind of factor into, you know, an already weird COVID-altered season?
It's one of the great sacrifices of this. And, you know, so many young guys and today, you know, they play so that their families have an opportunity to see them play. And it is different. You know, Io's family's probably never missed a game that he's played in this state anyway. They might have missed an out-of-state one, but, you know, it's very different. You feel for him. You know, you feel for him on a Thanksgiving weekend when it's about family. And, you know, we've told our guys all along that, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you know, you're not going to go home. And you can't be around family, and that's one of the sacrifices that we're having to make this year to be a basketball program that's trying to get through this season and all the difficulties of it and challenges of it, and it's sacrifice, and it's hard, but I feel for them, and that was a little something we could do to have their families introduce them. You know, our guys loved it, and you know, we'll continue to do things like that as we move forward.
Absolutely. And then, you know, through 3 games here, I'm just wondering where you're sort of at in figuring out your guys' rotation so far. It seems like, you know, you've been going 8 or 9 deep mostly so far, you know, with a few Zach Griffith substitutions mixed in.
I don't want to say I'm comfortable, but I'm getting there. I'm starting to, you know, it's about trust, and you know, we'll see. As you know, again, that's this challenge of Baylor will help solidify some of that as we get ready to head into December 15th against Minnesota. But again, I'm still working on it. It's still not, you know, I'm still trying to figure out all of the positives and negatives and productivity off the bench. So, but got an idea.
All right. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
Hey, Brad, you mentioned, you know, Io's in this frame of mind. Is there anything, I mean, we know him as a hard worker to begin with, but is there anything you can point to on a day-to-day thing when you see him and say, yeah, he's maybe locked in a different way today?
Yeah, it's just a play. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a place. Trent's in that place too. Yesterday in practice, I mean, there wasn't any nonsense. Everything was very matter of fact. Everything was very calculated. Everything was very, very, it's just hard to say. It's not that they're not that every day. It was just at a different level. Hard to explain, Joey. It's until you see it.
And then with Io, I mean, obviously that confidence radiates down, but he speaks so calmly about this game. I mean, he mentions that it's a big game, but you didn't see him, you know, act like he was too hyped up for it. I mean, does that also kind of fall down and trickle down to the rest of those guys when your All-American is kind of level-headed about this?
I think so. You know, I mean, Io's just, like I said, Io's got an unbelievable confidence, which he should have. He's might be the best guard in the country. And he's going to go up against a couple others that are right there with him. And you know, so it's great to have that confidence, and it's great for our guys to know that we have him, and that he's out there, and that he can do some things, and he can be a steadying factor, and he will be. And that's just part of having a junior who's a really, really good player.
Thanks, bro.
Coach, you talked about at the beginning your younger players learning that not every game is going to be a blowout. What has practice been like now that they do have a couple games under their belt? Is it easier to kind of point things out that you can relate to for tape?
Yeah, we actually practiced Saturday. With the NCAA rules, we had to take Sunday off. We have to take our 1 day a week off. So we actually came back on Saturday and had a really productive practice after the Ohio game, and a pretty lengthy film session. You know, we made a lot of mistakes at both ends of the court in that game. So it was about cleaning some of those up. It was about you know, continuing to understand that there's a bigger picture. It was a game that we were fortunate, in my opinion, to win. We had guys that made the right plays, but again, I thought, and give Ohio a lot of credit, and especially Preston. You know, they controlled the tempo of that game. Yeah, so we've tried to solidify some of the things we didn't do well, and you know, and most importantly, understand that the mental component of this is just as important as the physical, and that was getting ready to play and emotionally being ready to play, and how a very good Ohio team was amped, and I mean, they were tearing down the locker room, I mean, before the game with their energy. And, you know, that's, you know, we got their best, and we're going to get that. And that was a great way for us to learn that lesson as well, and still find a way to win.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll go to Shannon and Jim Matson, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you.
All right. Hi, Brad. I'm just wondering how different travel is this year. You know, what you're expecting, or, you know, what you have planned there. Just, I know some teams are taking multiple buses or even different planes, and the spreading out. I'm sure there's a million things I'm not thinking of here, but just how different will that be, and how do you keep that from kind of not letting it disrupt guys who are so routine oriented?
Well, I think one of the things, and this is still something we're working through with when it comes to league play, is day of travel. Now we're not doing that. We're going to go in late tonight. Our plan is you know, not to get in there till 10 o'clock tonight. So that way it's just literally watch film, go to bed, and we'll wake up tomorrow. But it's very different. I walk in, and our trainer and our managers throw me a big wad of all wrapped in a little baggie of wipes, you know, to wipe down the rooms. And our guys are not going to be able to leave their rooms. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to mingle in the lobbies. We have to wear a mask everywhere we go. We're traveling with our nurses who provide the antigen test for us. So those travel with us when we get to the sites. And we did our PCR test this morning through the university. We'll do our antigen test right after practice. So we'll know getting on the bus if we would happen to have, you know, anything go haywire. And then we'll test again in the morning. So, you know, you factor testing into all of your issues, but I'm not a very big fan of the hotels. I'm not very big fan of the pregame meal stuff and other people serving. That's been a problem, I know, for some of the football programs around the country. So Joey has been very diligent. Joey Biggs has been very diligent in trying to figure out how all that gets handled. But it's a great question, Shannon. It's very different. And I'll be honest, I'm trying to find a way to travel day of in some conference games so we can avoid hotels and all that possibility of exposure.
And just you kind of touched on this a little before with the idea of maybe not so much like how it affects the rankings, but just that idea of like savoring every game right now. And, besides what it means for how high you're ranked or what it means down the road, is there kind of a feeling or even a concern of let's enjoy this while we can because we don't know what scheduling holds or what anything holds right now?
Shannon, I should probably look at it like that. And I don't know if I have, because literally we could all be wiped out. You see so many games canceled, and you see what's happening with the Big Ten in football right now. And, I've been following the Ohio State situation pretty close, and whether they can even get in the championship, series now if more games are canceled. So, it's something I probably should enjoy, and a lot more. And I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. I like this team a lot, but who's to say that, at any day, everything changes, and we can't forget that. That's why I'm so proud of our team for handling the first 3 games and our opponents. We're all, we're literally all a day away from this thing going haywire.
Jim, one quick question, and then we got to wrap up.
Coach, just kind of piggybacking off of what Shannon said there, Io mentioned that this is kind of a game that normally Duke, Kentucky, Kansas play for 2 schools that aren't traditional blue bloods to get the national spotlight. This is thrilling for Illinois Nation. I'm sure it's fun for you to see Illinois back in a Jimmy V primetime main event.
Yeah, it's where we belong. That part I'm proud of. This is where we belong. We should be in these games. And we've got the best fan base in the country. We travel in a normal year. This place would be rocking if it was in the Garden. I've said it. The greatest satisfaction to me right now, today, is that this was the 11th ranked program in the history of college basketball, and we're at that level right now. And we've got that. And we're not picked 10th, 12th, 13th in the league. We're playing in the Jimmy V on national TV against the second-ranked team in the country, and Scott's had that thing there for a lot of years, and that's exciting. It's not something that we take for granted, but I do think it's where we should be, and it's nice to be back there and have our chance to play on that stage.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
That's all today. Thank you, guys.